to the Convergence Corner, a podcast from Print and Promo Marketing and ASI Media, where we speak to distributors who bring together print and promotional products in their businesses. I'm Brendan Menapace, Content Director for Print and Promo Marketing, and today I'm joined by Dan Lunoe, Business Development Executive, and Matthew Whitely, Global Head of Sales for BAMKO. Dan and Matthew, thanks for joining us. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and give a little background of your time in the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us, Brendan. We're excited to be here. I'm Matt Whitely. I'm BAMKO's global head of sales for BAMKO. Oversee all of our kind of business and lead gen initiatives within the organization. Been in the industry since 2017, so about 8 years now, and have seen a lot of growth and a lot of change within the industry. And excited to share a little bit with that today. Dan.
My name is Dan Lunoe. I've been in the industry about 20 years. Came over to BAMKO in 2021, just really to kind of focus on some of the larger opportunities and larger clients. And my job's to, find new client relationships and build on ones that we have. Happy to be here, Brendan. Thank you.
So, from the BAMKO perspective and from your own personal perspectives in this industry, how long have you integrated both print and promo together for things like kits? Did one kind of come first and then you slowly implemented the other, or has it always been together?
I think for us, print and promo kind of go hand in hand. And we often say, like, a lot of times print is promo and promo is print. And for us, it really started back in 2017. We acquired a point of sale, point of purchase company that really focused in that arena. But only last year did we really say we want to go after commercial print and kind of bringing that all together, where we actually built out an infrastructure, both from a business development and operational perspective, to really strategically go after it. I think for us, we saw a really large market cap that was really complementary to the services and categories we already service. So we've always done it, and we've always had that business there, and a significant amount of that business, but only up until about last year did we really start to hone in and focus on it.
And what does that entail? What does that investment, in time and resources, what does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, it's time, it's resources. We did bring, it's people. I think people was the biggest one, really bringing in the expertise for individuals who can kind of take it a little bit outside of the box. The industry itself has a lot of suppliers in the print space, but there's a whole other world outside of that there's just a technical expertise that is necessary that we were able to bring in and develop that out and build that out with our existing clients, much like Dude Wipes and some of the others that we have. But that's a bigger piece for us.
Sure. And you said two things that are going to segue really nicely into my next question. You said out of the box, and you mentioned Dude Wipes. One of the things we're going to discuss today is a case study that you had showed me for Dude Wipes was the customer. Can you tell me more about that product or project and how it came together, the products that were involved in all of it, et cetera?
Sure. I think one of the things with my personal experience is I've actually started off just selling print 20 years ago, and the company I was with was more focused on that. Now kind of had moved them into some of the promo space, and BAMKO was kind of the opposite, right? We've always sold it, but now we're having a focus on it. So one of the things with Dude Wipes is really just kind of figuring out, what they needed, right? And that necessarily wasn't the $45 Yeti tumbler or whatever the hottest new trend is of, the promo world. It was, trying to understand what they wanted to do. And that was really trying to make an impact, trying to make a unboxing experience, and really trying to use TikTok as a way to really get out in front of more people and sell more product, but kind of create that special moment.
That's interesting, because I think a lot of people want to have that social media moment, but they might not know where to do it. It's anymore, that's how you get your big viral moment, and that's what everyone wants. How did you guys use TikTok for your advantage here?
Well, Dude Wipes wanted to make a splash in TikTok. I mean, Dude Wipes is a pretty unique client, right? I mean, they're taking on the toilet paper market, and I mean that's such a vast market, and to be blunt, people have been wiping their butts the same way for a long time, right? And Dude Wipes is trying to change that. So when you're trying to change something that people do, on a daily basis, that they've become used to, you have to kind of think outside the box. And it was funny that thinking outside the box was making a box, but it was really trying to say, how can we make, buying toilet paper fun, right? And they don't want it to be toilet paper, it's a Dude Wipe. It's a totally new experience, so let's give the clients a totally new purchasing experience. And that's really what they focused on. So it was understanding that, and then thinking through, like, how can we make this happen for them. And we knew that wasn't going to be with a traditional promo piece. It was going to be something probably involving the packaging or some kind of printed component.
Yeah, it's a tough ask to disrupt the toilet paper industry. You don't hear a lot of people trying to do that. So what did this kit look like in its final form?
Yeah, so the kit was just, your standard package. But what we did is we had to focus on some key things. We had to focus on what's the product that they want to fit inside of it, and then what do they want as far as the messaging goes, and then making sure that that was in line with certain shipping standards, making sure it was going to be cost effective for them. But it was really just understanding, like, they wanted a vessel to get the product to the customer in a fun and exciting way. And then we were that strategic partner to help them make that happen.
And how did the packaging itself become that fun and exciting means of communicating the Dude Wipes brand?
Well, I think, especially since COVID, I think kind of the unboxing experiences are big with companies, and then having TikTok and social media take it on. You're kind of seeing every company trying to have that fun, special moment with their customers. And it's when you're not seeing the customers necessarily in a store, you're seeing them on the internet. It's how do you kind of cultivate that experience for them? And what just made it fun is Dude Wipes marketing is all fart and poop jokes, right? It's, that's like really what it is. And so it's, how do we kind of get that across? So they came up with a stool kit, and the stool kit was, just gave them enough real estate to market the product in a fun way. And it allowed them, the TikTok influencers who are selling it, the tools to really go out and sell it and help educate it. So the product was education and fun. And it's, hey, why do we need to use Dude Wipes? What are the features and the benefits that are going to make me want to buy this? And that's what their packaging did.
And then what were the promo products actually within the packaging itself?
Well, we've done a few different projects with them. So I think we've done gift with purchase before, where for like Valentine's Day, they were getting something like this. That's just a box with candy hearts inside of it, and it's a printed piece, but that's fun, right? Who would think that you'd get Dude Wipes Valentine candy hearts? Other things we've done for them too is, now with the new product that they have, they're doing inserts with their Little Dudes product that's geared more towards children. And so we did some tattoo sheets, some sticker sheets, and there's some new products that are coming out too that you're going to have to kind of wait and see. But Dude Wipes is doing a good job trying to engage with those buyers in a fun, memorable way that gives them something to do after they're done using the product.
Yeah, and it's fun. You get to connect with the inner 12-year-old inside of all of us with the jokes and the humor.
I think that's what's unique. I think that's what's unique about Dude Wipes, though, is the ability that they know who their market is. They know who their demographic is. They're not trying to go after just everyone. And they've really focused in on something that, has been a commodity in most people's homes for many, many years. And they're not trying to fight for the shelf space and the retailer for it. And they're looking for those unique and memorable ways to be able to engage their audience. And as the demographic shifts with the audience, specifically their audience, they know what they're looking for and exactly how to make them excited about the brand. It's one of those things where, for a brand, they punch way above their weight as far as what they're doing and how they're doing it. And that's what makes them really unique.
Sure. So, print can be tricky. We've heard of so many issues with misprints and things like that. Did you guys run into any major roadblocks while you're working on these campaigns with Dude Wipes at all?
There's always speed bumps, along the way, right? I think one of the things that just during the conversations, it's communicating those to the customer and being like, hey, we think this or this might happen, and here's what we're going to do to stop it. And I think really with Dude Wipes, the only thing is like with these projects specifically is their branding is a lot of black and then white. And sometimes when you're doing packaging and you're putting a lot of black and you fold the package, it starts to crinkle and crease and you can see some white shine through on it. So it's just working with the proper substrates, like being that, consultant and expert to them and saying, hey, instead of using this substrate, let's use this substrate. And that's going to be good because of X, Y, and Z. It's not going to, show those cracks. And then there's always stuff that happens during any kind of production, whether it's print or promo, where there could be issues with production timelines, stuff like that. So, but overall, it was really just understanding, what they wanted the package to be and then executing it and just getting ahead of some of those issues.
That's interesting. The actual look of the packaging, I think a lot of people might just go with the customer is always right. They want all black. If they want all black, they're going to have to deal with the fact that it's going to crinkle it. But sometimes you have to be that authoritative voice and be like, I know this is what you want, but I'm telling you the end result isn't going to be what you want.
Yeah, building that trust too, like they understand that we have their best interests in mind too. I want everyone to use Dude Wipes. So, we want to make sure it's a nice product and a nice finished look for them.
Sure. So for a distributor, this is kind of a two-part question. For a distributor looking to do something like this with just a well-done kit that attracts an audience and, makes people remember it, what is your advice for a distributor who wants to do that?
I think you need to focus on being that strategic partner. And, BAMKO really does a good job of having a lot of different offerings for our clients. We're not just selling them print. We're not just selling them promo. Maybe we're selling them uniforms. Maybe we're selling them awards and recognition. So it's kind of understanding like what their needs are. And instead of trying to force that, Yeti tumbler down their throats or whatever the coolest new promo piece is, it's asking questions and listening and seeing what their real goals and objectives are. And what's cool with BAMKO is that lets us like lean on some of the experts in the space that we have. Matt mentioned our entire print and POS team. Like that's a big strategic advantage for us because we can go to those experts and there's a lot of knowledge that they have that can help the client make a solid decision. And the second thing would really just be kind of keeping it simple. This again was a package, but it had a big impact, and it wasn't, the shiniest new widget, but it was the widget that worked for what their goals were.
That's a really interesting point. It doesn't have to always be the shiny new thing. The tool for the right job.
I think that's exactly right. I think, Brendan, you said something a little bit ago that kind of stuck with me, which was the client is always right. And the client has an idea and it's our job to bring that to life. And so for us, it's very much trying to understand what they're trying to accomplish, why they're trying to accomplish it. And then we will dictate almost how they should accomplish it. And leading the client down that path in that regard. I think Dan hit it on the head where for us, it is very much keep it simple. We always say be very curious when you're talking to a client. We see a lot of people in the space, they hear the client and they just run and they run after the ideation and the product. And for us, we want a deeper understanding of that. And I think, look, this industry has a lot of tools available for it to dive into print. There are industry suppliers that everyone has access to. But it really starts with a conversation and just talking to your clients about those types of things because everybody's doing print and we didn't realize it until we started going and having those conversations and you're meeting and you're looking around and you're seeing all of those just different things. And then your mind starts to wonder and you go, well, could we do this? Could we do this? And the next thing you know, you've got something there. I will echo what Dan said though. Like it doesn't always have to be, the best execution doesn't always have to be the most grand thing in the world, but leading them to something that's really special is what we're aiming for every time.
Yeah, you want well executed, not necessarily the hot new thing.
Correct.
Now I want to zoom out just a little bit to something you had mentioned at the top of the episode here, which is that BAMKO is looking into more of the commercial print thing, and obviously that's a term that might mean something different to different people. When you say commercial print, what does that mean?
It's interesting because when we started bringing in our team from an operations and business development perspective specific to print, what was fascinating was they were like any paper substrate. And in one hand, you're going, okay, what does that mean? But then when you expand that out, it could be anything from, you've got everything from vehicle wraps to forms to business cards to user manuals. I mean, there's all sorts of different things that fall under commercial print. Packaging falls under commercial print. But those are all things that we're looking at and having those conversations with. And I think for us, it really has evolved the depth that we've been able to have with many of our clients, like many of Dan's clients. We've become much stickier with them because they're now coming to us. And they may have a primary print provider that's doing their forms or this or that, but it's really those specialty print projects like what we're talking about with Dude Wipes that we can come in and really provide a tremendous amount of value.
I mean, that's a narrative that's come up so many times on the show, is just having the conversations and realizing that your customers are buying print. It's just a matter of whether you're selling it to them or someone else. And also becoming that, that one-stop shop that everyone seems to want to be these days.
Yeah, we see that quite a bit. I think when we're talking to people, when we're talking to prospects and clients, I think one of the top things we hear them say is a focus on vendor consolidation. They want to have a supplier, as you said, Brendan, that one-stop shop, that place that they can go to, have one thing that they want, have whatever it is they need to get and be done. And that's spun around from the last several years, where coming out of COVID, you had really a diversified supply chain and people wanted redundancy and things like that. But it becomes really complicated to manage those relationships. And so our ability to be able to bring a multitude of different categories to the table is really attractive to a lot of our clients.
Absolutely. Well, guys, this has been really informative. Matt and Dan, is there anything that I haven't asked about in terms of the Dude Wipes campaign, or just, adding print to promo that I haven't asked about that you'd like to add?
Not really. I think the only thing I would add is like, it's okay to not be the expert. Surround yourself with the experts. And I think, that's kind of the biggest, I guess, follow-up answer to the last question you asked, Brendan, but it's really true. I mean, you see a lot of salespeople trying to be that expert of the apparel or of the drinkware, of the hard goods, and I think it kind of puts themselves into a box or back into the corner. And I think trying to be the expert of finding out what your customers' needs and goals are is really what the focus should be on. So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, again, awesome stuff, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today, Dan and Matt. And once again, I am Brendan Menapace. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into Convergence Corner.
Thanks, Brendan.